Hi, welcome back, my friends. This is video number 2 today for the new releases for our Magic Tower, the Saturday after Christmas. And what do we get? We get Telonius this time around. Telonius is a very interesting character. I've heard a couple people not speak highly of him, but I happen to like him quite a bit. We'll go into why. Let's talk about what we got here. So we will be of the Sorcerer class, which is fairly interesting. A reminder of the family bonus for the Magic family. It's going to be a bonus for 1, 2, or 3 heroes. They get plus 50, plus 75, or 100% chance to cast a plus 5% mana generation stack on a random ally when this hero casts their special skill. Max stack of 10. So this was a pretty cool ability when it first came out for the Magic Tower. Nowadays, I'm feeling like it's a little bit dated. I'd love it if they would update that, but unlikely. So just keep that in mind. Now, down here in our passes department, of which we get 3, we get damage on special. When this character casts their special skill, they have a 60% chance to deal 150% damage to all enemies. If the special skill is fully charged, the chance is 100%. So it's a little extra damage to all, which is pretty interesting. Down here, we get stack on special skill. When this character casts their special skill, all enemies get negative 7% mana generation stack. If the special skill is fully charged, all enemies will get 2 stacks. An enemy can have up to 10 stacks. Well, we all know that. But anyway, this guy is pretty interesting. Stacking negative mana generation on the entire opposing team can be very, very strong, especially if you get a few of them up and going and the battle lingers on. You're going to really be reducing their mana generation. It's going to be frustrating for them to finish off the fight. And last but not least, he does get the weaker Mega Minions passive as well. This is going to do the negative 75% health to all Mega Minions. And again, this is not as popular these days because Garrison Guards have kind of made their way out of the meta, but it is still a very powerful effect, and it helps you deal with teams that are still using like Roslyn as one of their main healers, or like Fergus and hiding behind Mega Minions. Just understand that that is very helpful to have. Now, over here in Aether Power, we get Bulwark. Bulwark is basically defense up, but each time they get hit for the first 6 turns, they will get an additional 1% defense added to it. So it's a helpful way to help stay alive a little bit easier at the beginning. Down in the specials department, we get Brew of Centaurs, or Brew of the Centaurs, sorry. This is going to be operating at magic speed. So remember that magic speed basically means like your first special skill level goes off at approximately very fast, so it's very easy to get that one off. Your second skill level, however, will be functioning at slow +1. So in other words, it normally takes 12 tiles to get off a slow special. You technically need 12.2 tiles to get off a Magic Tower person, so just understand that that's going to be functioning at a pretty slow speed. Also, that does not get affected by Rush, which is a bit of a bummer, but that's fine. So just keep that in mind. Now, moving down into these specials, what do they do? Well, the first mana charge on this guy says all enemies take plus 55% increased damage from status elements for 3 turns. All enemies also receive 807 poison damage over 3 turns. The caster absorbs 10% of that poison damage dealt as health. So, oh gosh, that's fun. Anyway, the second part of their special, the second charge, is going to be recover 75% health for the caster and nearby enemies. Nearby allies. The caster and nearby allies are immune to new status ailments for 5 turns and recover 350 health on each attempted status ailment. So, let's talk about this guy. And I'd love to have a discussion about him because I feel like there's a lot of mixed feelings on him. But let me explain why I really enjoy this guy to everyone right now. So, first things first, his passives are pretty awesome. Family bonus is a little bit weaker, but I do enjoy his passives quite a bit. That stacking mana generation debuff is crazy. All right, so down here in the specials department, though, what's interesting about this character is I think his real value comes at his first tier of his special. The second tier is okay. It is. A 75% heal is massive. So he'll be an absolutely massive heal bomb that can help you clear things like Mega Fiends, etc. if you need to do that kind of thing. But I think there's so much more value packed in the first charge. And let's explain why. Right here it says all enemies receive plus 55% damage from status ailments for 3 turns. That's a large amount of increased damage from status ailments. Once again, this guy fits perfectly, almost like the Magic Carpet featured hero we just did, the Jawala. This guy fits perfectly into a dot team. He's going to increase your dot's potential damage by an extra 55%. Amazing. Then also he's giving all enemies an additional dot, the 807 poison damage over 3 turns, which basically is going to equate to what, like 270-ish damage a turn to each person on the opposing team. With some attack modifications, etc., it might come in right around 300-ish. But then he's also going to be absorbing 10% of that as health. Now, that's 10% of each hit that he does to the opposing team. So if he does about 300 damage to each person, right? Let's say he hits all 5. Then he's going to absorb 10% of that. That's 30 from each hit. So 30 times 5 is going to be 150 health regen that this guy is going to give to himself on top of the dot damage and everything else he's doing. So I understand that you might think to yourself, that's not really that much health, but it's not really the goal, right? Like, his goal is to increase damage. He's just saying, you know what? I'm also going to help keep myself alive a little bit, take some of the pressure off the healer. I'm going to be topping myself off each turn that I put my dots out there. He is operating at very fast, so it's not going to be hard to refresh this guy and keep that dot up, keep that healing going, keep the increase to your other dots damage. Once again, just a fantastic piece to add into a dot team. Defensively, I don't think this guy will be as good. He suffers from the same issue that all the the Magic Tower heroes have, is that you have no control over which specials activated on defense, and it can be an absolute disaster if they're doing the wrong one for you. So just keep that in mind. Mostly an offensive hero, plugs himself into a dot team incredibly nicely. If I have to rate this guy, I'd give him a solid 8. I want to say he could be higher, but the thing is, he just doesn't pump out as much damage as Jawala did. That's what could possibly push her into a 9 category. This guy is just a very nice 8. And honestly, I do like that if you're not going to use his first tier special, the second tier special still gives you value, an absolute boatload of health, and it does give immunity to status ailments, which can be helpful and still help move your particular fight along. But I definitely think the primary focus of this guy should be the first mana charge. All right, well, thank you for tuning in, everyone. If you do like what I do, you can click that little button at the bottom right. That'll help you find me easier in the future, and we look forward to talking to you next time.